turns. It means the same thing when you're in a car. Take turns, let people go by. Where are you going? Why are you going that's so much more important than me and risking my life? If there isn't somebody in complete labor having a baby in that car, which I knew they weren't because it was two men alone in the car that cut me off. Now, when I say cut off, I'm in the right hand lane doing what I'm supposed to do, and they come and shoot over in front of me only to pass the guy in the left lane. Now, come on. Startling me, thinking all those things where, oh my gosh, if that was a wreck, how my day would change and all that. I can't control that. I can't control whether somebody's going to come over and cut me off. But what I can control, and I needed to, and I let it get the best of me, is it was the end of a day, and I was pretty whip tired after, giving everything I had to the day. It started getting to me. And, there's a little prayer out there they got going on. And we all know the Serenity Prayer, and I'll share it with you in a little bit. But there are things that we just can't control. The thing that we can control is how we respond to it. And we need to it feels better, I should say. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you, I know I am complete within myself that when something like that happens and I just go, oh God, I hope he's okay. I hope he makes it home okay. Rather than thinking, oh my God, that guy just cut me off. What an ass. Instead of getting all in that, oh my gosh, if I wreck on my car and this and that, well, I hope he gets home okay, and I hope he doesn't hurt somebody else down the road. Kind of changes things. You start thinking about what really could happen to him, or really, there might be an urgency in his life, and he really might be going to get to somewhere. So while I'm thinking in my head it's all about him being number one and he's got to be first, and only to find out, don't you love it when somebody does that to you and you're in a traffic jam and then you end up side by side, and I did. I did. I looked right over at him and I waved at him and smiled because he did all that work. He almost got us in a wreck. He had to speed up. And then as the congestion continued, there I was. And I just looked over and smiled and waved. I know, it was sarcastic, and I probably, need to check myself for that one, but it really, this is what you're doing. Where are you going? That's so much more important than anybody else on that highway. We're all in the same boat. We're all wishing traffic was free and safe and the roads were dry and everything was a perfect driving condition. It's not. But that's the same thing that happens to us all the livelong day. All day long. Things can happen, and it's how we respond to them that's important. Because when we respond in a negative way, or we get carried away, or something really pisses us off like that, it's a situation where if we react in a way like that, it really the situation won. He won. Instead of me worrying or thinking or praying about the people that he might hurt, if I stay in that mad moment, then that little activity, that little action won. So we always ask for, for acceptance. And there are things that we need to respond to, but in a managed way. And sometimes we do have things that happen to us at work, and either it hurts our feelings or it pisses us off, and so we need to watch how we manage that, because when we respond in the wrong way, which I do often, please understand that, I realize after a little while it's like maybe I'm still thinking about it even though I'm operating and doing other things. Well, that means I'm not giving those other projects and things the time that they need, or the energy, or the passion that they need, because I got this other daggone thing going on in my head thinking about what just happened to me 17 minutes ago. So I am starting to learn, and I am learning, I am not bossing, I am learning to make choices. And I put things into little compartments and departments and kind of pass them off as, you know what? It's just like how I was explaining yesterday. And by the way, I have my nephew Todd on, and boy, is he an inspiration. This is the guy that was managing life in a body cast and still trying to figure out how to survive and stay alive, and while not going back on and falling into any drug addiction traps with the medication they were given him. Pretty inspiring individual. But we were talking about some of those things that can do that, and time that you spend on the wrong things. And I have learned and am learning to start to make choices. And when I say choices, it's just like yesterday. Maybe that was sarcastic when I waved at that guy, but he did kind of smile and laugh back. And so that kind of gave me, and it still does when I think back on it, it kind of gives me a chuckle that there wasn't any road rage. I didn't lose it, but it did kind of affect me. But I chose to, you know what, I'm going to wave at him and acknowledge him and let him know that, his little speed game didn't work. So try that. If something goes wrong, if you're on the phone, if you've made the call, if you've worked with this person for 3 months and it's a big old ad or a big old sale or a big old piece of furniture or a great car you just knew you were going to sell or whatever your job is, and it all of a sudden, hey, we're closing the business. We're not advertising. We are, if something happened to my husband, we cannot buy that new car. Whatever that situation is, you can't control that. Here's what you can control. You can control how you respond to it. And if you were doing your, remember, job of picking up that phone and talking to as many people as you can about your product or service, it's fine. There's another ad coming down the pike. There's other people that need cars. Look at all the cars on the road. If you're a car salesman, somebody's going to buy from you if you're doing your job, as in reaching out to the community, promoting your product or service. And ultimately, somebody's going to say yes, and they will respond. And so if we've built up our pipeline in sales, if you will, and we have it full, then when the guy says no, and he really can't, this has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with, it is life and circumstance that happened to them is the reason why they're saying no. Well, they can say no because they went to the competitor and the competitor slashed the price in half. Same product, same service, same car, whatever. There's nothing you can do about that. And don't belittle yourself to thinking, oh, I wish I could cut my price in half. No. Have confidence in the value of your product and move on. Lots of people have businesses. Lots of people need cars. Lots of people, it's just like somebody leaving. I was talking about a dentist, and they move on. They move out of the area. Family of 6 kids. How do you think that affects a dental practice if people start moving out of town? There's nothing he can do about that. If all 6 kids need a cleaning every 6 months, the last time I added that up, that's $100 a kid. That's $1,200 a year. So, concentrate and on your emotions. Selling is emotions, buying is emotional, and how we respond to these things is paramount. And just make choices to think about the other piece of it. Make choices to think about everything is a plus and a minus. There might be a little gray sometimes, but really and truly, it's math. One tree dies and there's 16 starts out down at the bottom that are just dying to become trees, but they can't because of that tree. When people are intentionally burning down their farmers, and they're intentionally burning areas of the farm and the crops so that either they have to keep the crops within those burned circles, or they're actually allowing the other crops to grow. It's pretty fascinating. It's a plus and a minus. So are you. And so when something negative happens to you, and it will, I promise, you just pick up that phone and make another phone call. You just pick up that phone and call your friend or your coworker and say, hey, I just lost this deal. You got to talk me out of this. You got to help me through this. I can't help the way I feel. I need help. Because if you don't, then you're going to be out there in the field and you're going to be all frustrated. So hang in there. The best time to pick up the phone is when you sold something, and the best time to pick up the phone is when something really bad happened. Because I'll promise you, weird things happen, wonderful things happen, interesting things happen, funny things happen. When you do your job, we are so lucky to be in sales because we're paid to talk, we're paid to be on the phone. I mean, honestly, so do that. And if you don't like that, get the hell out of sales, because that is going to be the way that you get through it. So, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I got a little thing on my nightstand, and I read it's something very, very close to that. And it talks about that, the courage and the wisdom to know the difference. Why is that on my nightstand? Why do I look at that every single night before I go to sleep and every single morning when I wake up? Here's why. Because I need to be telling myself that every single day. So focus on things like that. I know it's tough out there because there's a lot of us. There's a lot of salespeople out there. So it's competitive. The only way it doesn't become competitive is when you change you and become more interesting by being interested in what those people are saying on the other end of the phone. And don't waste that time. If you've got a business person on that phone, you listen to them and you take notes. All right? Got that? Okay, for the ladies, high recommendation. I've been using this. It's at Sephora. We got this Too Faced stuff. The Hangover Proactive Nourishing, which is hilarious. Their tagline is, "We love your skin even when you don't," you know? I mean, I guess the dehydration from drinking. It's very cute. However, their little marketing thing here, first of all, it's beautiful packaging. Second of all, it works. Sephora, Too Faced Hangover. Then, following that, Too Faced Prime Poreless Skin Smoothing Face Primer. Wow. Using these together. And then, of course, I put my foundation over it. But girls, you have got to try these, and I want to know what you think. You will notice a difference day one. Then you keep using it, you can really notice a difference. All right. So here is, now I do want to boss you around. I do want to tell you this. Make it a good day. Pick up the phone. Have some fun. Make sure you have that passion. Don't lose that passion. If you're afraid to pick up the phone, pick it up anyways. Remember, being afraid and having courage is not that you don't have any fear anymore. It's that you're doing it anyways. Full of courage. Also, lead with love. If you're afraid and you're in between, love is always the safe best bet. And what do I mean? Does that really mean love, and just like in the 70s and all that good stuff? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hippie love. And what I mean by that is within you. And then when you do that and you give it about yourself and you care, sorry, I'm getting carried away with cussing today. Whoops. But anyway, yeah, little sailor's mouth. But anyway, if you do that and you project that out into the universe, really, really cool things will happen. So, hey, thank you all so much for listening. We got a new thing coming up. It's going to be Tuesdays with Todd. If you suffer from any kind of addiction, whether it's even like mine was my mental thing where I was telling myself woulda, shoulda, coulda, I call that my little addiction. I got over that. So any kind of recovery, anything like that, but also it's a lot of fun. He's my nephew. It's my brother's son. We have a good time. Todd, Tuesdays. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. And I love you guys. May 1st. Bev D Show. Have a great day.